We're back.
Hey, everyone. Hopefully they'll come over. God, I can't believe it. Yeah, I can. I screw up everything that has technology attached to it.
It's all good. No worries. Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming back. Appreciate you. We got people filtering back in, so appreciate that.
Okay, you see that already?
Yeah. 9 for 9's here. We got a couple other people streaming in.
Okay. Hi, 9 for 9. Amy Harrell. Sorry about that. That was not exhaustion doing that. That is me being so highly untechnical. So welcome, Amy. Welcome, 9 for 9. Hopefully everybody else will be popping in pretty soon. So the topic that's on the table today is how is this idea of tariffs going to affect our precious metals and subsequently your stacking? If you look at what happened, we had a temporary drop in the spot price, both silver and gold, as I expected. Not to the exact numbers that I anticipated, but the concept was pretty accurate. And then there was some adjustments thereafter. But that was, in my opinion, a temporary thing that had happened because of a temporary situation, aka the election results. We have a president-elect and his entourage that are either picked or on the way to being picked, and we don't know how that's going to happen, how it's going to affect us. Yeah, it's more due to no petrodollar. That might be part of it. But what I think is going to happen here is that there is going to be a push, as Trump had said, to rebuild our infrastructure, rebuild our business in America, make us financially stronger in the trading global market. Hey, Ron Pierce, welcome. So subsequently, what I think is going to happen is we're going to see the precious metals either stabilize or get a little bit lower if we don't have any more conflict. The more wars we have, the more conflict we have, the more strife that we have, the higher the price of metals will go up, and that will affect our stacking. And that's the basic gist of my idea what's going to happen. What do you think, Frosty?
To be honest with you, I haven't tracked it much, so I don't really have an opinion on what's happening there. I'm looking at some other situations, more focusing on the Texas disposition to use gold and silver as a precious metal backing, trying to do more research on that end. Really haven't been paying attention to what's happening. I've been following a lot with Syria, finding out what's happening with the Syria piece. So I really haven't been following the other lines of what you've been discussing. So I don't really have much of an opinion on it.
No, I understand. I just think that we're going to be dealing with a lot more stress and strife, and what's going to happen. And this, I think the whole Syria thing might not play as much into it because we didn't get into it.
Yeah, I think the Syria situation, as long as we stay out of the situation, we should be good. When you look at the things that Syria has as far as exports, imports, they're not really a major factor for us. The major factor with Syria is their their prominence, their position in relation to Israel, Lebanon, the Gaza Strip, and also looking at their kind of fronting for things like Iran, the support that they gain from Russia, stuff like that. So with that company being in, or that company, excuse me, that country being in turmoil, and the rebels who actually we want to take over, it actually plays beneficial for us to stay away from it, to stay clear. Um, the question is what do we do as far as backing for Israel? I'm all about backing Israel. So how does that get manifested? So that's going to be my question there. But for the most part, I think we maintain the Israeli support, and then we kind of stand back and let those tensions are thousands and thousands of years old. Ever since the Paris Acts, it made it got worse. So we'll look at kind of what's happening in that region. But I don't really think we should be engaging too much, simply because, well, we're already spread too thin. And if you remember the Lord of the Rings quote, I feel like butter spread over too much bread. When you get too thin, you really have no strength. In that case, obviously, it was talking about strength of taste, but in this case, it'd be actual strength of a nation. So we need to kind of tone down, focus our energies, focus our monies, and pick our battles a little bit more carefully. But that's just my opinion.
I totally agree with you on that. I mean, I'm in the process right now pulling up spot price of silver. For some reason, the graph, here's the graph. There it is.
What's up, Passion? Good to see you.
Hey, Passion. So let me show you here where I'm at with this.
What's up, Bait the Hook? JJ, good day. Hope you all are doing well.
Let's see here, screen 2. Okay. This right here is from SD Bullion, and if you look at this, let's see, it's November. That's November 5th. And if you watch it, it came down after the election. You know, Grand Silver did its serious volatility, came up and came back down again. With gold, this is November 5th. It came down. This was the low point at 65, it's going to be 25 plus. It's gone up, but only spikes up and then comes back down. Much lower level than what it was heading by the time that we got to November 5th. So I think that this drop here was partially because people were expecting Trump to win. Do I think that's going to be the only component of what's going to happen with spot prices, what happens with Trump in here? No, I think it's got a lot of other components. Like not so long ago, Trump had told other nations, if you deal in the BRICS nations as a reserve currency, we're going to tariff you. And the response I heard was Putin's like, you know, basically thumbing his nose at Trump, basically saying, you know, the U.S. dollar is antiquated, and that the BRICS is going to take over. So it's if there's more of a financial war, and we are losing, then obviously the dollar will get weaker, and that whole thing. And I honestly think the tariffs might have a double-edged sword. Yes, I think he's going to use them as a negotiating leverage point. I worry that how this is going to affect our nation. You know, with all these imports coming in at higher tariffs, is that going to affect us because that's more of another tax? Or is it really going to give us our businesses back? And although I love our country, I also know how people are. If we have more businesses here, will more unions get bigger and powerful, which does nothing but drive the price of goods and services back up, which I think led to such things as the NAFTA agreement. And obviously, the less you have, the more you got, the less you can buy. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm a little bit. So I don't really want to get into NAFTA. That's not a discussion. I'm not. That brings up bad memories of Hillary, right?
Okay,
So
I'll give you that.
I don't really want to get into that whole NAFTA fiasco. But I think you're right in the regards of the potential for this tariff situation to be a double-edged sword. And the reason that I say that is that, again, we talked about this before, and I've got a couple things pulled up here, so I want to walk through a couple of these. And I want to mark 949's comment. So if you can put that comment on the screen so that we can come back to that later, so that we don't lose that.
Okay.
No, close that. We don't need that. Just go into
Oh,
your.
hold on. I'm trying to find.
You're sharing all your screens, dude.
Oh, I forgot what was on there. Hold on. Oh, damn it. Once again, Tiger challenge with the computer. Okay.
Are you guys members? If you guys are members, you should go check out my shorts for members. Wink, wink.
Smart ass.
So there's a couple things to this. And so when I say there's a couple things to this, here's what I really want. I want to think about when we're talking about the potential for silver to go up or down, or gold to go up or down. We have to look at the tariffs. So there's 3 different tariffs that have been proposed: Canada and Mexico, and then China. So in order to be concerned about a tariff, we have to understand what the major imports are. So how is it going to affect us? How is it going to affect our industry? And how, as consumers, is it going to affect us? So if you'll look at the imports that were tariffed 2018, 2019, and then all the way that continued into the Biden administration, you're looking at about 506 billion worth of imports from China to the US. Now, what does that mean? Well, we're looking at things like electrical equipment. We're looking at things like reactors, boilers, toys, games, sporting items, furniture, lighting, any kind of prefabricated building, smartphones, computers, lithium-ion batteries, which make up about a quarter of all the imports. But the greatest of those is electronic and electrical equipment. Now, why is that a big deal? Well, we are an electrical and electronic dependent nation. So we utilize a lot of the technologies that come from China in order to promote our own infrastructure, national defense, medical, insurance. All these other things rely on a lot of the equipment, the technologies that are created from some of the imports that we get from China. Why could this be a double-edged sword? My opinion, Frosty's opinion, quote unquote opinion. Okay. Why do I think this is a double-edged sword? Number one is any imposed tariff is kind of a post facto tax against us. And why is that? Well, we get charged the increased prices that the consumers, the people who are going to China to get those goods. For instance, I was reading something on toasters. And if it costs $40 to buy a toaster, now we're talking about a fairly nice toaster, this toaster can potentially go up to 50, 54, 55 bucks. Now, when we're talking about the general scope of things, $10 more per toaster may not sound like much. But if you're a manufacturing person and you manufacture 30, 40, 50 items, and everything that you manufacturer is going to get an increase of 8, 9, 10, 12, 15%, then that price is going to get passed on to the consumer. That's us, right? And so while we might see gold and silver prices go up or down, we're going to be seeing increased things coming from out of pocket. So I think it's a double-edged sword. I think there are some good things that can be done from this. I think from a political vantage point, Trump will be able to leverage that against things that will allow him to make decisions that have a greater impact overall. So it's kind of a nil minus one effect where you have this big initial ouch, it's going to hurt us. In a year or two, it's going to be an extremely beneficial. We see our economy rise. We see prices start to lower, and we see those silver and gold prices drop a little bit. Now, we want those to drop, indication of a good economy. So we want them to come back, because if they come back, we buy more. So I think initially it's going to be, oh my God, this is killing us. We're experiencing this time frame, but I think in 1 to 2 years, we can see the political as well as the economic benefits from these tariffs. And we've seen these. In fact, there are some of these when we're talking about different items that were utilized. There was one specific to section, I believe it was 338. You're going to have to double check on that with me, but it was section 338 of the Tariff Act. The Tariff Act came out in 1930, and this is one that the Trump administration had issued along with 232, I think it's 232, that Biden and them continued. Again, we were talking about massive tariffs. They had to look at certain things. But the one about 338 that was really important is that this one was specifically against something called IPEAA, or IPEEA. Don't ask me what it stands for. It has to do something with some sort of disadvantaged commerce dealings. I don't know what it means. But we can utilize that against a nation that is, quote unquote, conducting unfair or discriminatory practices, whether it be military, whether it be financial. So that's kind of like the catch-all. When Trump did this, the Supreme Court came back and said, yes, we're going to uphold that this is legal action. So I think that they're going to utilize this again. I don't know what the outcome is going to be. I do want to hit a couple of questions real quick before I go any farther with this. Bait the Hook asked the question, is it a good time to buy silver, or should you still buy silver? What are your thoughts on that, Tiger?
Can you hear me?
Barely.
I had to go to the little tiger's room. I think that it's a good time to buy silver anytime. It's still being suppressed. It's still basically what it was a few months ago. I can still buy back when I get my better earnings, buy back what I had sold for basically the same amount, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more because of the volatility. When I was last home, I could have bought a lot of my silver back for less than what I got for it when I sold it. So I think we are still in a buyer's market.
JG said, Frosty, he is going to invest in Chinese, not goat Chinese. That's Johnny Kijaz HC. Anyway, yeah, he was saying that you were basically dropping the kids off at the pool. So we need to come up with a code word for that because I was not looking at chat. But again, so I think that's a double-edged sword. Yes, I do think that you should be buying silver. Again, my personal opinion, hey, Sean, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming in. My personal opinion is that we're going to see another pullback. I don't know how quick the pullback is going to be, and I don't know what the price is. I'm guessing it's going to be anywhere 27.50 to 28, based off of the recent pullback that we had. Tiger showed, if you can pull up the silver chart, Tiger.
Yeah, I'll be happy to.
I know you had the gold one pulled up, but the silver one, if we look at that recent pullback, you'll see that drop back down. But will you remove the OC Stacker comment
Oh,
so that
sorry.
we can see
Hold
the
on.
bottom of the chart? No, that's fine. I want to be able to see the bottom of the chart.
No, I couldn't find it. So it's easiest for me to highlight someone else and then take it away real quick. That's how I
Yep.
can get it away fast.
Yeah, no problem. So
Okay.
when you look at the August 24 numbers, you're going to see kind of that we punched through back in February. We punched through kind of that ceiling, and then we jumped up to around that $26, $28 range. And then we settled back down around that 26, and we were there until we punched through the next level, and then we shot back up. So that 26 is going to be the floor. When we look at gold, gold is a little bit different because gold has continued to pretty much steady pace against the inflation rate. It's outpacing the inflation rate, but again, it's definitely staying pace with that. But go back to silver, because what I want to look at is it's more on the silver end. So as we look at silver, you're going to see this pullback. Now, I think that this little bump back up to 32 and that little pop down, when we hit back to 30, we're going to get some notification. We're going to see some bearing on whether it's going to go down or whether it's going to go up. My personal call is that we're going to see a little bit of a pull down below that 30 mark. My call is 28, so in the $28 range. I am not pulling any big plugs for a while. My buy goal is 28. I'm hoping that we can see $25 again sometime in 2026. So I'm hoping that we see improvements in the economy. Now, again, I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm only basing this based off of what Trump did when he was in his first tour of duty as POTUS. So as we look at the changes and how he improved the economy over time, I think we got a good year and a half worth of struggles, but we're going to start seeing some things that come in, and we're going to start seeing some improvements in our economy. And I think those improvements in our economy biting any, and I don't say this lightly, I say this with all seriousness, any local United States-based Civil War tendencies that we might possess as more things start to change and these tariffs start to happen. I think we're going to see more issues, less like we saw during the days leading through the election, where it was vile. Our nation was just at each other's throats with the political realm. I think now we kind of understand what's going on. We see some people complaining about it, but we generally got an idea where we're going, what's happening, and we're moving forward. So pending any kind of negativity from that lens, again, I think we got about a year and a half, and we'll see those prices come back down. So my ultimate buy goal, I would love to see 25 again, meaning that our economy is going up, but I don't think we'll drop below 25 for very long if we do. I think that floor is 26. If we punch through that floor hard, we'll see an insurgence of price shoot through the roof. So if you see that tank, it's a definite time to buy. So watch for that quick drop and then buy on that drop. Again, this is my opinion. This is not based off of any financial experience that I have. And I'm not a financier. I'm not a gold person. I study stocks and I study trends, but it's for my own benefit. I've lost a lot of money. I've made a lot of money. So again, this is just my opinion. So take it for what it's worth. You guys know I do numismatics as a hobby, so take that into consideration. But again, I'm looking for that drop, but I'm really not buying tons of stuff in the next year. I'm going to wait. It's going to be really volatile. My focus is I'm watching that disparity between the silver price and the gold price. I'm looking at that gold to silver ratio. Now, Tiger's talked about the gold to silver ratio, and I'm looking for a certain number. When I see that number, I'm going to start flipping my silver and starting to trade in some of it for gold. Because if we get that where it comes closer and then we see it expand again, that's a good way to earn basically free silver. So I'm watching for a certain number when it comes to the silver and gold ratio. And if that happens, then I'm going to start flipping my silver. But that's probably not anytime soon. What's up, Mentally Corrupt? How you doing? So what are your thoughts on this, Tiger?
Well, first of all, let's get over to the gold silver ratio. It's actually a good idea to have a look at this. So right here is when Trump gets elected. And unlike the gold and the silver, this is a weird chart because it's a ratio chart. So basically, what happens is after the election, the gold silver ratio pretty much climbs, except for right here around the 18th. And it climbs, indicating that gold is still way cheaper than silver is still way cheaper than gold. So, even at these dips here, it makes silver a way cheaper purchase than gold. And you could use the argument that it's because it's wanted in the global market, it's wanted for industry. You could use that. But I also think that it's still showing that the governments still have a lot of power in manipulating the prices so that they can do with it as they wish. But it also, in my mind, because as I've posted in a video, because of what happened with me getting septic, I had to sell silver in order to make ends meet.
Right.
I did not want to sell gold because when you look at gold, it's constantly climbing. Yeah, it has some volatility, but it's pretty much constantly climbing. So if I sold, it was here. I would have sold. I would have, and I would have been able to buy back. I would have done well, but I didn't. I wasn't in that position yet. Here it's starting to climb all the way back up. You take it with the silver. I actually sold somewhere around here. Okay. And when just before I got ready to come back out here to come to work, it was, I could have bought for less, not a whole lot less, but less than what I sold for. Knowing that is the reason I chose silver was the reason I would do that. So, if the whole tariff thing happens, I seriously think that if that's the case, our dollar purchasing power will drop further if we are losing the financial battle. And I think that can happen a few different ways. One of the ways that I'm most concerned about, and God knows, as I said, get ready to say this, my dad's probably rolling over in his grave, is that if we bring more industry back to America, and if that then promotes more and more return to unions. I'm not a huge fan of unions. My dad was, and he lived and died by them. And they, in my opinion, they didn't care about their people. None of them did. They
They
just
have their
cared about
place.
themselves. Yeah, but I've not seen that place be for the people for a very long time. So if they're not going to be there for the people, then that is going to raise the cost of goods and services. So if there's not a big issue with unions jacking the price up, we can then accomplish the goal that was being set off by Trump's desire to bring more industry back to America. One of which obviously is to make America strong again financially, but the other reason is so that Americans don't have to pay through the nose for everything. So I hope I've answered the question, plus a little bit more that I wanted to go over.
Yeah, do me a favor. Pull up a, if you can. I'm not sure how to do this. I want to pull up a 6-year or an 8-year chart for gold, how far out can you set? Can you set, click on all. All right. And let's get over. So what I want to look at is I want to look 2012, and I want to kind of look at the pattern from 2012, 2014, that general time frame, and look at where gold was. Now, I don't want you to look at the numbers. I want you to look at the general patterns that are there. So if you look at 2008, you see the housing crisis and that Black Friday and all that crap that happened during that time frame, and you see that big jump, and then you've seen it come back down and check out. And then after that, you've seen all the financial crises that we went through from 2008 all the way up to 2012. You had that finance market, you had Fannie Mae, Fannie Mac failing out, you had all these major issues, tons and tons of situations. And then we get into a situation in which we have a few years where we have really kind of stable prices where they kind of fluctuate and they start to come back down. Now, when Trump gets in office, we start to see a decline and a steadying of gold. It stays, now granted, it fluctuates a little bit, but it stays steady. It comes down, it balances at a level. And even though our economy is kind of going, it's still on the upward trend. Do me a favor, move your cursor all the way to the left because your gold label is blocking what I want to show. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Stop. Okay. So if you look to the right of his cursor, don't move your cursor because that gold thing covers the area that I want to show. You'll see that goes down. But if you look at the overall trend during the time that he's in there, it stays pretty flat. Now, that drop that happened as you're looking 2014, 2016, and then the little bump up in 2017, you're going to see kind of that decrease. I think this is exactly what we're going to see when we look at what's happening within this next 4 years with Trump. I think we're going to see kind of a increase of influx of prices. It's going to go up and down. And then I think we're going to see this decrease as things start to stable out. And again, we're talking about these tariffs. We're talking about some of these things that are happening from these tariffs, and are they going to be a good thing? I think in the short term, I think we're going to feel it. I really think we're going to feel it. I think it's going to be, without getting too political, if you look at some of the stuff that's happened, I think a lot of the stuff that's occurring, some of the decisions that were made in the last 2 months, 3 months, were basically to kind of set the administration up for a failure. I think they've identified that. They've made some calls, forced the current party to say, yeah, we can't support that either. And there's kind of been a balancing. Now, I think we've got some damage control to deal with over the last 4 years. So I think the next year, we're not going to be able to turn this ship on a dime. So I think that what we're going to see is we're going to see what we've seen between the end of 2011 and the beginning of 2013 into the mid 2013. We're going to see that kind of stable fluctuation up and down between a $200 or $300 price point, and then we're going to see a pullback. I think we're going to see a pullback more stable in gold, but the silver is going to give you your greatest opportunities to buy. And so I think that now we're talking about gold. Again, if you'll hit all in this particular one, again, you'll see the trend. Now the trend, if you look at what happened 2011, you got to throw that out the window. That whole freaking fiasco, don't worry about that one. That was a shell game that caused a lot of issues. I want you to focus around the 2014 timeframe. And I want you to notice the last portion of that pattern. You're going to see that pattern as it starts to spike and then drop and then spike, and then it plummets off in 2014. Then we start to see the economy improving. So 2014 through 2016, we see that decrease to where we see that start to go down. This is the economy improving during this time frame. And granted, there were things, there were budget cuts, there were things that were happening during this time frame, there were stuff that were going on, and then we started to see the initial change. Now, Trump was in office what years?
I think he started in 16 through 20.
Okay, and I want you to look at this. Initially, things went up. And things went up because we had to rectify situations that Obama had put us in, where he had spent so much money. We were trying to recover and close and manage programs. We just didn't have the money to manage. So we were playing damage control for that first year. But then you look at it and we got stabilization again. And we stabilized, and we stabilized. And then the Biden administration came in, and what happened to silver? Boom, through the roof. Our economy started to tank. We started to have major issues. The price of groceries started to go up. The prices of insurance started to go up. The heating and air conditioning costs started to go through the roof. Gasoline started to continue to climb. Again, we saw a lot of these major issues. Now, we did have a couple major pullbacks that were corrections. These were market corrections. These were things that were ballooned up, right? These were choices that big market made that caused some of the prices to decrease. And then we look at the recent advent of what's going on. And again, it continues to rise because the economy has been struggling. I think we have a greater opportunity for purchasing. Again, if we look at the first year, I think we're going to see silver go up a little bit. Okay. But I think we're going to see a pullback, and I think we're going to see one or two pullbacks, just like we did during the Trump administration in silver. Again, if you look at that 2017, the end of 2016, 2017 timeframe, we see that big drop. And that drop went from Tiger, if you'll click on that peak at 2017, and you'll look at that peak there, right? You're going to look at the $20. And I want you to go to the first bottom drop there. Okay, so you're going to see that we ended up at under 16 or just at $16. So there was a significant price point. I think this is what's going to happen in 2026. So do you buy? Absolutely. Continue to buy, but buy more when it drops. That's what I'm going to be looking for. I just wanted to show you why I'm making the decisions that I'm making. Again, you don't have to follow what I do. I'm not a financial expert. I'm not a stacker. I'm not a stacking channel. I don't read the markets and study, but I do my own finances and I do pay attention. I look at my money market accounts. I look at my gold and silver holdings. I look at what I do just to make sure that I'm understanding the general premise of history and how political trends and things have affected that. AC4, good to see you. So I want to make sure that I'm doing due diligence. So I think personally, 2026 is going to be the year to buy. And I think 2026 is going to offer an exceptional opportunity for us to see some cool changes in gold. I'm not sure exactly what to expect in gold. I am seeing a correction in gold. I just don't know what that's going to yield. Gold usually challenges inflation. So inflation starts to come down for any reason, not that it will, but I think that gold will kind of mimic that trend a little bit more because gold has been chasing inflation and we finally caught it. Gold is finally at a point to where it's passing that inflation mark. And I think that it's going to become stronger. So if it pulls back a little bit, I think we'll see that correction in gold. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I definitely think that we'll be seeing that. But definitely be watching silver the late 2025 in through April. My call is May, June 2026 is when we're going to see that big pullback.
Yes, it's a good possibility. And my recommendation is that if you have time, if you're not, swamped with work like I do, if you have time, hold on to your money, hold on to your fiat money, and buy during the dips if you can. If you're more like me, where time is more precious because you don't have as much free time, buy when you can. You're going to get taken sometimes. You're going to get hit on a peak sometimes. You're going to get hit on a low sometimes. But
Yep.
but you're going to get that dollar cost averaging that you're hoping for. And I've had situations where I've sold. One particular time, I sold $100, a 100 ounce bar. I had a beautiful English Britannia 100 ounce bar.
I think it was gorgeous.
Oh, it was beyond gorgeous. But I got upset because I wanted to have a 100 ounce from the Royal Canadian Mint, and Chevelle sold it, and I wanted to have them like two buddies hanging out together, So I just got mad and I sold it. I bought it for $24.50. I sold it and I got $32.50, so a $700 increase. Subsequently saw a beautiful gold buffalo and bought it at the same price that I bought the silver for. Still had $700 left over, and bought a bunch of constitutional dimes. Did I plan that? No. I just realized that I didn't want a 100 ounce bar without its potential buddy, if you will. And I don't normally get those things. I normally, take the hit like everybody else does. If you get a chance to, and you have more time to watch these trends, and you can buy the dip, and you have that opportunity, I would take it. Yeah, thank you, Sean. I do plan to get another one. Right now, my number one thing is I want to add to my stack of silver shot and cheap silver. Thank you, Kraken. I am doing slowly. Um, but what I want to do is I want to turn that silver shot and the El Cheapo things, like buffaloes and milky rounds, and melt the crap out of all of them and make the products that I want to make, which I want you all to see. I got some really good designs coming my way. I just need to be home in order to do them. In fact, I've shown Frosty some of the designs. I think you guys will be really happy with, if I can make these designs work. Just a little forethought. So,
What's up, Kraken?
hey, Kraken. So that's where I'm at with my goal. My goal is to work it out, getting more constitutional silver and some melting silver, and turn it into products that either people want to buy or I'll just keep.
You know what else I'm doing? And I don't recommend anybody else do this. I don't recommend this at all.
Okay.
But what I've been doing is I have been taking my premium items. Matter of fact, I'm working out a deal tonight for one of these. And I'm buying a little bit more rare, higher end numismatic items. Now, they're not crazy. Some of them are slabbed, some of them are not. Some of them are to improve my books. Some of them are to hold for the future. But they're not your commonplace. They're not your common Morgans. They're not your common peace dollars. They're more of the rarities, the more hard to get. People really want to look for these kind of numismatic items. And when silver peaks at $32, $34, or whatever it is, I always barter trades for the numismatic items. And so I it's for Tiger's Christmas gift. I do have your Christmas gift, and you've already gotten part of one of those. Actually, it's not, you haven't gotten it yet. It's being shipped. But what I'm trying to do is I try to get those things that are a little bit out of my reach by utilizing the high collectible premiums of some of the collectible pieces that I've got. So when silver goes up, that's when I'm trading those really, really high-end premium pieces that if SHTF happens, well, frankly, the premium's going to be shot because they're just basically an ounce of silver. So I'm trying to cash in on the high collectability of it by getting my high-end numismatics. Now, when price drops, the numismatics aren't going to drop as much. Now, there's a double-edged sword here as well. Sometimes it's hard to sell numismatics, especially when you're looking at sets. This is why I'm not trying to buy sets. This is why I'm not trying to buy the common things. I'm trying to buy the key dates. I'm trying to buy those items that people are going to be looking for. The standard commonplace items they'll drop when silver drops. They'll drop when gold drops. But your less commonplace items, your kind of more collectible, your top 100 VAMs, your heavy die clashes, your really rare trade dollars, those kind of things, right? This is where, and Tiger and I worked out a deal that is extremely beneficial for both of us, where I got a trade dollar and he got the new flowing hair metal. It was a 1-for-1 trade in price, but he got something for his teaching box that is something he wasn't able to get. They were sold out. He was trying to buy it now. He would spend way more money trying to get that piece than he would if we did the trade. It was mutually beneficial for me because one, I got 2 of them. Fortunately, I had somebody buy me one. My wife got one, and then my mom sent basically the one to Tiger. And so I had one, and it opened up the opportunity to do what Tiger and I do best, and that is to talk about, hey, how can we make this mutually beneficial for each other? And that's ultimately what bartering is going to be, right? How do we do something that's mutually beneficial? So you can take the high-end premiums and make them benefit you. If you want to keep silver, take your high-end stuff, sell it off, and buy generic. And Marsh stated that he would never buy shot. Stay with generic rounds and generic bars. And if you have the premium high-end stuff and you can do that, sell that high-end premium stuff and buy generic, that's good, right? So think about ways you can increase your strategy. Think about ways you can increase your holdings utilizing what you have with very minimal out-of-pocket expense, because those are the skills you're going to need if SHTF happens. Those are going to be the ones that are going to be beneficial to you. And so start thinking that way now. How can I utilize this to do something that's mutually beneficial to both parties? And if you want people to trade with you and trade nice things with you, you make it mutually beneficial. Don't go around screwing people. It doesn't help you in the long run. Matter of fact, it hurts you in the long run. So make sure
no one will trust you.
beneficial.
Sometimes it ruins your reputation. Your reputation is actually worth more than your weight in gold. You can make more by having a good reputation than you can have from screwing a few people and it gets out. In fact, I have a mod here in the chat who I've had loads of discussions with. He was a car salesman. Now he doesn't do that anymore. He's now having fun tinkering in the precious metals market. And basically to listen to his stories about reputation is everything. I can't tell you enough to how much that really means. Yep, that's exactly it. And this is the man I'm talking about. Very respectable man. Don't tell OC Stacker I said that about him. Might go to his head.
Oh man, I thought you were talking about Sean. Okay. No kidding, OC. I'm right there with you. OC is a stand-up man, and I firmly believe that. I was raised by my grandfather many years of my life, who taught me one lesson. The only thing that goes up that never ever comes down is your age, and the only thing that you own is your name. You'll own nothing else in life. Everything else in life will be taken from you, but your name is the only thing you own. Protect it with your life. Your name and your reputation mean more than gold. And so if you talked to my grandfather, it didn't matter who you talked to. Everybody was like, Frank's a good man. He's a good guy. He was fun to hang out with. He was fun. I would sit down as a kid and watch him watch cartoons because he was fun to he like let loose. He taught me to enjoy and to have fun with life. But again, your name is all you own in life. You don't own anything else. You don't own your home. It can be taken from you. You don't own your cars. They can be taken from you. Everything in a heartbeat can be taken from you. But the only thing that can't be is your name. Protect your name with everything. See you, Neil. Have a good night.
Good night, Neil. Thanks for coming. Loved having you.
And Sean, this is why I always talk about, and I keep this. You guys have seen this from time to time. This is the actual hat that I wore when I was in the Navy. Now, I had different hats because I was on different ships or subs, depending upon where I was temporary duty, but I was stationed on that ship for a majority of my time. And that means a lot to me. And one of the key factors with that is honor, commitment, courage. Those were our core values. And honor is doing the honorable thing, doing the right thing, even when nobody's watching. And this goes from picking up dog poop in the middle of the night when you take your dogs out to doing trades with monetary friends and family. It doesn't really matter who they are. You uphold your end of the deal, regardless. You
Did
hold
you
yourself.
did you say you trade dog poop in the middle of the night with your friends and family?
No. I said if you're taking your dog for a walk, you pick it up, right? Again, nobody's around. Why would anyway? It's not a big deal. Integrity is being the man who does the right thing at the right time, or being the person who does the right thing at the right time. It's doing the thing that is right, even when nobody's around to see it. It's doing the thing that doesn't necessarily bring you grace and praise. It doesn't necessarily bring you that attaboy. It's the thing that makes you feel good about doing what is right. And sometimes it sucks, but if people know that you're a person of integrity, it goes a long way. I do a lot of trades with people. I do a lot of things with people simply because they know that when they get what I tell them they're going to get, that's exactly what they get. They don't get it, and it's not all nasty and milky and beat up and trashed. I've done deals with people who tell me they're getting this stuff, and I've gotten stuff that was like, oh my God, I should find this in the junk bin. Like, this is horrible. And you think that I'm going to get the premium value for those items? It doesn't matter that it's a Durga. It's got a giant cut through the middle of it. Nobody's going to buy it at that price. At that point, it's just silver. So if you don't hold your integrity on things like that, you're going to lose it fast, and people won't do that with you. In a barter situation, it's going to be the same thing. If people know that they can come and trust you with certain things, they'll offer you things of fair trade. So work these deals now. Start understanding the practicality of trading and work them, again, to mutual advantage. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't get a good deal on it, but just make it mutual. I like to call it mutual, right? We do mediation. The best mediation, there's 3 types of mediation. There's the win-lose, the lose-win, and the win-win. Well, actually, there's 4. The win-win and the lose-lose. Try to be in the win-win category, or try to be in the lose-lose category. never be in the win-lose. Never be in the lose-win. Because the win-lose or the lose-win categories mean that somebody's getting shafted. And so if you both lose and you're okay with it, then that's fine. If you both win and you're okay with it, that's fine. But you're never okay with somebody getting the gist of everything and you getting shafted. That's never, ever a good thing. Doesn't matter which way that flows. Doesn't matter if it's a coin shop to a buyer. Doesn't matter if it's a dealer to a coin shop. If you're known for shafting somebody, you're going to lose your reputation and it's going to be gone forever. So be very careful with that.
True. I mean, it gets back to what we were saying earlier. Your name is everything.
Yep.
You're either a person with a really awesome name, or you're a person with a really crummy name, and it's
Like
really what
Frostbyte.
you do. Remember, you said that.
Well, I was going to say like Cookie because, crummy name
Oh God, here we go
or
again.
cornbread. Anyway, sorry.
That's just wrong. That's just wrong.
Oh, what time is it?
It is. Hold on.
Is anybody up for a semi-dirty joke? Semi-dirty joke. I've got to have approval before I say it. It's a Christmas joke. I'm not going to say it if people don't say it's okay. I'm not going to offend anybody. L says yes. Come on, I need a couple more people to say it's okay. Time to keep going. Yeah, hell yeah, LOL. Okay. You know why Santa Claus has no kids?
No.
Because he only comes once a year, and that's down the chimney.
That's so messed up.
Oh, anyway,
That's so
check your
messed up.
stockings. If they stick, don't open them. All right.
Speaking of which, and not such a dirty little thing, you dirty little minded individual. Just since we are talking about holidays and chimneys, do you know how the whole chimney thing started?
I'm waiting for the joke. I'm like, hold on.
No, this is not a joke. This is history. The actual Saint Nicholas. Okay.
Oh, it actually wasn't the chimneys. It was like holes in the roof, right?
Nope. No, I being Orthodox, and Saint Nicholas was an Orthodox bishop. We tend to love to hold on to history and tell the stories of history so they're never forgotten. Saint Nicholas was a very wealthy man, and he was born into wealth, and he gave all his wealth away. And one day, Saint Nicholas hears about this fella who is dirt poor. And back then, to get your daughters married, you had to have a dowry. If
Yep.
you didn't have a dowry, your daughters would not be getting married, and they wouldn't have someone to support them. And subsequently, a lot of them were sold into sex trafficking. So this was happening to this one fella. He had 3 beautiful daughters, and the first one was coming up to marital age, and he was very sad because he knew that if she didn't get married, she was going to end up becoming a prostitute. Well, St. Nicholas hears about this, and he walks down the road and comes to the guy's house. He has a bag of gold in a little satchel. And when no one's looking, he throws the little bag through the window into the man's house. The guy finds this, and he couldn't believe it. He had something for a dowry for his first daughter. And the second one came of age, and St. Nicholas did the same thing again. Well, now the third one's come of age, and he wants to know who his benefactor is. Now, St. Nicholas was a very kind man, a very giving man, a very soft-spoken man, but he did have a little bit of stubbornness, and he did not want to be caught up in the sin of pride. He didn't want someone to call him and praise him and tell people how wonderful he is, because he didn't want pride to set in. So he gets to this guy's house, and all the doors and walls and windows are all boarded up because the guy wanted his benefactor to knock on the door. Well, St. Nicholas waited until the right time. He climbed up on the roof, and he threw the bag down the chimney. It just happened to have ricocheted and landed in a stocking that was hung by the chimney. And that's how the tradition started.
Interesting. I knew there was something about, I thought it was through a hole in the roof, but,
It's called a chimney.
well, but I don't think, yeah, I guess it's translation. But I thought it was through a hole in the roof, and he went to throw it on the fire mantle, and it hit and fell into the stocking. Same basic premise of the story, it's just a little bit different. So I don't know if it's translation. But the reason Saint Nicholas is a saint is because he basically gave everything away in order to better other people's lives. Now, I'm not going to give a 1-for-1 of Saint Nicholas and Tiger, but Tiger has been extremely generous, not just to me, but to many members of the community. And so there is something to be said about people who are generous. But one thing that we need to talk about generosity in regards to St. Nicholas is St. Nicholas did it for those who never asked. He saw and filled a need. And it's important because a lot of times, and we see this pretty much everywhere, is we know somebody does something, so we target them to do something. That is not conducive to gaining friendships or building community. It actually is a really good way to tear community apart. So when you find somebody who's gracious and courteous like Tiger, and I have been, God, how many conversations about this have you and I had? Probably in the hundreds.
Which topic? We talked about so many things.
About being gracious and giving stuff away, and what's good and what's not, and how you have to be careful. And so, because there is a level at which people will take advantage. The stories will be created. We've seen this within our own community. Stories will be created to do something, and then we find out after the fact that it wasn't even true at all. There's one, and I'm not going to name any names or be specific at any point in this, but somebody's family member had passed away, only to find out about a year and a half later that they were going to that person's birthday party. It made a big stent in that person. I don't believe that person's even in the community anymore. So be very leery of people who frequently ask for things. It is one thing to give out of grace and to do things for others, but just be careful with it. When we talk about doing things like bartering, we talk about how financial situations are affecting people. Do so out of the kindness, out of the grace of your own heart, but you don't need to necessarily make it public. Matter of fact, you're going to get more reward from not doing that because you're less likely to get people who will try to manipulate and turn that tail against you to put you in a bad place, to make you feel bad because you didn't help them. So be very careful about that. It's okay. It's okay to I just read Zeffel's comment, and it kind of stopped me for a minute. And then he said, "Has sarcasm." I caught that after the fact. But again, when you're doing this, the reason that I said this about Tiger is Tiger and I are good friends, and Tiger has done a lot of stuff for me on an avenue that I haven't done, haven't been able to do. I'm new to this. The numismatic. I'm more about education. I have a set of way, a set way of doing things, and I can help him construct things in a certain manner, and he can help me understand the more creative aspect of things. And Tiger and I go back and forth, and we benefit and help each other. So I've been able to do things for Tiger, and Tiger and I have been able to do things for me. But a lot of people see these and they're going, and I've heard this in the comments. Well, why can't I have a friend like Tiger? And I want to urge caution about people looking at Tiger as being over gracious. Tiger and I together, and I say this without much exaggeration. In the last year, Tiger and I have probably spent 2,000 hours online working through videos, issues, technology, finance, relationship, health, religion. Another thing that's really important to him, the masonry. Just looking at all sorts of aspects of life and becoming friends. So I want people to understand that Tiger and I have a friendship that doesn't happen a lot. Like, we're genuine brothers, separated at birth. Like, I'm like I was going to say something that sound totally wrong. I was going to say, I'm a cougar and he's a tiger. I'm not a cougar. But the whole premise of that is that we're cousins. Like, we have an understanding, the relationships that we've seen in life, the hard concepts of life, the marriages that we've had, I know it's, yeah, Freemason, mentally corrupt. Looking at the various trials that we've been through, we've gained lessons, and we've been able to help and build and grow each other, not just each other, our spouses. The relationships we have. We were joking tonight. His spouse came on as he was getting ready to go live, and we were doing stuff, and she came on, and I basically said I love her in Slavic, and she started laughing, and she's like, "Oh, it's funny." And I told Tiger afterwards, and I was like, "You know where I'm going with that?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "I just wanted her to smile. I just wanted her to laugh." And he understood that. This is the kind of friendship that Tiger and I have. It's really unique. It's a partnership. It's a brotherhood. Why am I saying this? Because Tiger has done some stuff for me, and I've heard people in a couple streams go, "Oh my God, like, Frosty, what the hell are you doing for Tiger? Like, why is he giving you all this stuff? Or why are you giving him all this stuff? Why do you give him these things? Like, you spend $5 to buy him something. What the hell is going on? Why is this?" And it's because we honestly have a relationship of gratitude. Gratitude is something we genuinely don't do much of anymore in life. Genuinely, for the sake of just being kind. We don't see a lot of that anymore. Now, we do this in the community. We see a lot of this in the community, but we don't see it much in life. Here's what my goal is for 2025. My goal is to make this extraordinary become the ordinary. I want people to come together as brothers and sisters. And the way that we'll attain this is through integrity. It's through grace. It's through arguments that end in a handshake. It's in disagreements that end in a drink. It's in frustrations and battles that end in strength. We look at the opportunity that we have to impact our nation. We're looking at tariffs and how will it affect our stacking. We look at money and how it'll affect the general cost of goods and services. We look at the presidential nominations. We look at the presidential race. We look at the presidential election. We look at the president-elect. We looked at foreign affairs. We look at all these things. And I brought back to something that William McKinley stated. I'm going to pull this up because I want to quote this exactly. And I talked about this. Go ahead.
While you're doing that, he mentions, your friendship transcends a lot of different things. And, some of it might be financial, some of it might be, having each other's back when things go crappy in the day. And some of it's just outright accepting your friend when he's just being a jerk.
Like me tonight.
To get the lullaby music in the background. Hey, Tiger. Hey, Tiger. Wake up, buddy. Hey, Tiger.
You got to stop that or you're going to get a strike. Because you'll get a copyright.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about
that. So, we'll oh my God, I just turned freaking bright red. I had put that only for members.
Yeah, but I needed people to understand that I love you despite you being a jerk. So I had to establish the jerk motif.
Oh no, funny though. So Tiger and I were preparing for the live stream, and I was like, Tiger, and I was like, well, I'm going to let him rest for a minute. So I went over to Steve's looking for silver, and I was like, well, we're trying to do a live stream. Tiger fell asleep, and Mad Stacker's like, you've got to record that, and I was like, oh yeah, that's what a real friend does. So I put that together and posted it on there.
Okay, so my recommendation is that everybody buy something from Mad Stacker and don't send him the money.
No, don't do that. That's not even nice. That's not even nice.
Yeah, okay, send it to him 2 weeks later. Don't mind me. I had to get a little payback on Mad.
So
thanks,
here,
Sean.
I want to go back to this quote from McKinley. And it says this: McKinley reminded Americans, refrain from fractionalism. Now, this is really important. Questions of foreign policy, of revenue, the soundness of currency, the involatility of national obligations, the improvement of public service, let them appeal to the individual conscience of every earnest citizen, to whatever party or whatever country he may reside. It was a greater calling to be kind, to be thoughtful, to have deep discussion. I've actually included this passage in one of the videos I'm doing for the commemorative $50 series. And it's something that when I read it has stuck with me. I'm really studying McKinley. McKinley was an amazing man. But again, the key there was refrain from fractionalism. And it's important for me to say this because we let some amazingly weird shit get in between us and involve. We involve other people in stuff that has no business being involved. It should be a one-to-one thing. And folks, that's a good way to divide and become divisive. It's a good way to be a fractionalist. And I don't mean fraction as far as stacking. I'm talking about to disgruntle or degrade or belittle the community.
Mm-hmm.
So avoid that. And don't be jealous of what other people have. Tiger and I have an amazing friendship. But you know what? You guys probably have friendships out there that Tiger and I would be jealous of. But don't be. Support them, encourage them, build them, grow them. And when you find them, acknowledge them. So I'm going to say this tonight as we get ready to wrap up, because I'm going to try and get some rest before I stream in the morning. But I appreciate my brother Tiger. I appreciate what he's done. and I stand in the gap for him. I will hold him to the fire. I will tell him the facts. I will not lie to him. When he's doing something stupid, I'm going to tell him. When he's doing something harmful to himself, I'm going to tell him. And if he doesn't listen to me, I'm going to get people involved to make sure that he knows how much he's loved. And when he had that situation with his leg, Tiger learned something. Tiger learned that you guys actually care about him. That's his words, not mine. So again, remember, sometimes loving somebody, sometimes respecting somebody means saying things that are not necessarily kind, but do it to them. Do it for them.
I didn't even know that this was even a capability that someone could do that and put it on there that can be put on the channel. Just sat there with my jaw on the floor and tears in my eyes. So I wanted to thank Yankee for showing me a level of kindness that I just didn't know could be done, let alone the technology. So subsequently, I also want to point out something else out here. I put this this post out for a number of reasons. Frostbyte and I are working out some details about New Year's. He wants to attain certain goals and give certain thank yous. I want to attain certain goals and certain thank yous. I'll leave Frosty tell his goals and thank yous because it's his channel and his right. This one here is, I'm getting close to I'm currently about 1,600 subscribers. I want to get to 2,000. We're going to be having a New Year's party. I don't know exactly what day. We're going to work that out. There will be some giveaways for the people in the chat. Will be some giveaways for the members, and for the mods. And want it to be a lot of fun for everyone. And then I decided I'm going to add to the pot. If I can get to 2,000 subscribers, there's going to be a giveaway of 5 ounces of silver, poured silver, that I've made your choice. You can have less if you want, or all the way up to 5 ounces if you want, your choice. Not as a way to bribe and buy, but as a way to thank you all for being there and having my back, and my channel's back, because I really want to get out there and become a big name and show support to the community. And despite the fact that I have a very demanding job where I travel a lot, work crazy hours, and fall asleep when I'm talking to friends, hint, hint, hint. But basically, I want our community to be strong, and I want to be able to teach. And the bigger of a channel I get to become, the more people I can reach and the more people I can teach. And not just my grandsons who I want to teach. Hey, Sassy. So, but basically, I want to be out there for everyone, and I want to get to be a big name. I want to uh, teach a lot of people how to protect themselves, their wealth, and all that. And I'm working towards that goal. I won't give out any surprises right now because it will ruin the surprise. But just suffice it to say that even at my level, I'm getting some really good interviews that I've had coming on and have come on and will have come on. But this is all for your benefit, not only for me to build the channel, but for your benefit. And the giveaway that I'm talking about is a thank you for everything. So please help me get up to 2,000 subscribers, and mention to people, don't just go subscribe, because if you subscribe, YouTube takes it back. You got to put the like and leave a comment and hit the bell notification, and it then sticks. And same thing with Frosty's channel, who has been really awesome at building really fast. I think it's because he tells really good stories. But
People like my dumb jokes.
well, that too. And the other thing I really wanted to point out on this is, let me bring this up. Oh, for crying out loud! Let me bring this back up again. If you can go over to my wife's channel, Dog World and You, and not only subscribe, she is very close to 1,000 subscribers, but that's not what she needs the most. What she needs is view hours. She needs 600 view hours to get to baby monetization, and then to try to get her another 1,000 view hours before time's up, which I think is going to be in February. So if you all can be so kind as to go over to her channel, watch her stuff. If you don't have time for it, would you consider, going over, hitting her playlist, finding out what playlist you want to play, view the whole playlist, set it up as play all, and those hours will add up. So I really would appreciate if you'd help her build it up. In addition to me, getting the 2,000 view hours or 2,000 subscribers, because that's going to, in my opinion, going to make other people who want me to have interviews with them take me a little more seriously. So I just wanted to thank you all for supporting me and my channel, and to ask for that if you all don't mind. Now go to Frosty's and sign up.
So a couple of things that I want to address. Couple of things that are happening in chat. We'll get to my channel here in a little bit. I do have an idea for a stream, a pretty mammoth stream, some really cool stuff going on. But I want to address Nichols. Now, we kind of got away from the tariff conversation towards the end. But he says, Frosty, is Trump going to go overboard on tariffs? I don't think so. I think we're going to see the same thing that we saw in 2017, 2018, when we look at the various articles that he did when he utilized certain tariffs. Again, I don't have them pulled up. I should have had it pulled up. You're looking at a wide variety of the various tariffs that were done. I'm going to see if I can find this. See if I can find. No, I don't have it open. I thought I still might have had it open. But there's a series, and I'll find it and I'll send it to Tiger so he can put the link in the description. There are 4 articles that Trump used in 2018, 2019, 2020 to engage in a certain item. Some of the later ones that were put in, like 2238 or 238, and I think it's 233, 228, 233, something like that. I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
But they were both carried over by the Biden administration because they actually made sense. The 230s, the one that I'm looking at, I think it's 238, is actually put in place to do, it's basically a political check to keep people from utilizing certain items to basically bully another country. Those tariffs tend to hurt the tariffed country more than it does us, but it can be a double-edged sword. So I think that initially we are going to see some of the issues that are occurring. I think that we're going to see in the short term, I think we're going to see some potential kind of, we're getting shafted because it's going to be costing us more. But I think those are going to be short-lived solutions, short-lived byproducts of a long-term solution. So again, I think 2025, especially the first 7 months in 2025, are going to be continuation of the Biden administration. May, June, July, we'll start to see some of Trump's stuff happening, and then we'll start to see Trump's policies take effect October, November, December. This is why I say sometime in April, May, June is when we'll start seeing those silver prices really start to come down, and that's when we'll start seeing the benefit of that. So again, we'll find out. But do I think he's going to go overboard? No, I think he'll do exactly what needs to be done in order to engage that political um, atmosphere that allows for genuine communication to happen.
And if that's the case, I think our prices of our goods and services will come down, provided, of course, like I said, hey, Yankee, welcome.
What's up, Yankee?
So if Trump does it correctly, and
Indeed.
if things don't happen like overboarding, if you will, by unions, and people are not trying to line their own pocket at the expense of others, we will see prices come down, including making the dollar stronger. And if that's the case, then these will become less pricey and will be more of a buying opportunity. If we see things such as, and I'm going to use this again as an example, as if unions go overboard trying to take and line their pockets, which is going to be transmitted to the consumer, then prices will go up and the dollar will get weaker because there won't be enough spending out there to support the economy, and these will start getting more pricey. So, in my opinion, we are not at a point where we have come to precious metals that are essentially unobtainium. What I think we are in is still a buyer's market. It's just that it's not. It would have been nicer if I joined 6 years ago instead of 3 years ago. But you can't cry over spilt milk. So it's, in my opinion, for me, you can do you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You can do you. I'll do me. I'm still going to buy. And if I ever hit another SHTF, I'm going to sell silver first, because the volatility of silver gives me a chance to buy it back easier and faster, as opposed to buying back in terms of gold. Because if you to bring this up here, if I would have sold here and bought back here, or bought here, sorry, bought here and then sold here and then bought back here, I'm losing, and there's not much volatility. With silver, if you have to, this volatility gives you a potential chance to buy back at, or maybe if you're lucky, less than what you sold for. Let's see here. What did Yankee say here? I literally own one silver and one gold pen. I won't buy any more. If that's everyone's opinion on foreign bullion, will raise tariffs. Will tariffs raise their prices? I would guess so, unless it's already here.
I think they're going to go up. Main thing is if you're looking at, well, it depends. I think the biggest place that we're going to feel the tariffs is going to be in those six areas that I talked about earlier in the stream, which are the primary imports that we get from China. Looking at the electronics world, the electronics, the electrical, the medical device items, PlayStations, things like that, right? Any of those kind of gaming, sports-based items. Clothing, I think that we're going to see the tariffs will have a greater impact on the number of counterfeits coming from China to America. And the reason the counterfeits will increase is because the genuine companies won't be able to get their goods over here. So I think we're going to see a rise and increase in counterfeit items from all walks of life, including silver and gold. I do think we'll see an increase on those. And I think we'll see an increase because if you see what's happening in China regarding some of those items, I think we're going to see some of those. And I think we're going to see some of that transpire here in the U.S. Because of those tariffs. But again, initially, yeah, they could be our Achilles heel. But again, I think that because we're putting such a band on the commerce, the true, genuine commerce, I think we're going to see an increase in the counterfeits, and that's going to come in the gold, silver. It's going to come in any kind of precious metal jewelry, anything that contains those precious metals. I think we're going to see an influx of the counterfeits. I know they're high anyway in the Chinese market, but I think with these tariffs, we'll see another increase in those. But I think short term, it's going to affect the bullion market. But again, I think over the year and a half, I think 2026, we're going to see kind of a settling like we did in 2017, 2018, when we start to see improvements in the economy. And the improvements in the economy are going to see bullion prices drop. That's my call. Again, this is just Frosty's opinion based off previous experience with what happened during the first administration. So we'll see. I just think he's going to impose the same tariffs. So I think the outcome will be a little bit different because of the tumultuous situation that we're in right now. But I think over the long haul, we're going to see some definite good things come out. It's going to take a year and a half, though.
That's pretty much what I think. I think too. You're going to find that things take time, and when Trump comes in, he's going to sign his executive orders. He's going to put his people to work, but it's not all going to happen right away. You're going to have the juggernaut from the Biden train going on. Those those drones are after our precious metals.
Well, I will tell you this, that I got notification from a buddy and confirmation from somebody else in another stream who I know are both officers, and they have been ordered to shoot them. The recommendation is if you see drones in certain areas to shoot them. Now, granted, I mean, they're talking about law enforcement, not the general public. Don't go out there shooting stuff down. But they're considered a risk. Are they from China? I don't know. I mean, they did the balloon thing, so who knows? I can't tell you any more about it. I don't know more about it, so I can't really speak much more to it. But I can tell you that two officers in two totally different areas were stated that they were ordered to be shut down.
I didn't even know that. What do you expect? I'm typically working all the time. But no, what is the story with these drones?
They're popping up around government buildings, police stations. In my opinion, doing counterinsurgency, right? So looking, surveilling, collecting data. I don't know what the official thing is on that. I really haven't dug too much into it. Again, I told you I've been tracking Texas legislation and what's happening with the silver and gold and what they're trying to do at that end, focusing more on trying to get what you and I have talked about on that end.
Mm-hmm.
So I've really been focused on that and then building my series for the commemorative halves. So I haven't really focused too much on that aspect of it. But normally, exactly, Amy, normally before any kind of insurgency, whether it be cyber or whether it be conventional, there's always usually an uptick of surveillance, insurgency, counterinsurgency. So it wouldn't put past that they're looking at doing some uh, kind of monitoring, surveilling, figuring out what's happening, understanding the patterns. One of the things in the military, and you remember this through your military training, I'm sure, Tiger, other people that are here probably know this. Change your steps, change your patterns. Don't go to work the same way every time. Take alternate routes. Leave at different times, right? So try to be unpredictable because predictability allows people to identify when and where they can be and where most likely are the best places for those types of people, those law enforcement, military officials, et cetera, not to be. So again, insurgency, counterinsurgency. Am I saying that that's what that is? No, I don't know. But there's a lot of talk about it. So I would have to do more research to say verbatim whether this is just a bunch of people trying to raise a stink, or if this is actual insurgency, counterinsurgency style cloak and dagger crap.
Yeah. Are these drones like these really big drones like what we use in our military? Or are we talking about those little tiny 4-propeller helicopters?
From what I understand, it's a wide variety of them. I haven't, again, I can't speak to that. Somebody in chat may be able to provide more information. I haven't really dug into the story.
Okay. Candid camera drones. Is that the little tiny ones with the 4 propellers? Nichols, is that the little tiny ones, or is that, it says 6 foot? It must be somewhat bigger. Small car size. Oh, okay. That's big enough. I wouldn't. If I saw something about small car size floating overhead, yeah, I'd be a little more concerned. If it was a little tiny thing, I'd think it was just someone, enjoying their hobby.
Yeah, and again, I haven't been really tracking it. I tend to avoid a lot of that. I don't see the conspiracy lines. I wait until we get decent intel before I really start to look into stuff. Right now, we'll find out. You've got Facebook and Instagram videos of a drone that was shot down somewhere around the Jersey Turnpike that looks like an old aircraft drone, like an old American drone. But that's from like 9 years ago. So be careful watching social media for your news, because that story was a down drone that occurred not like 9 years ago. They're just bringing up the footage and being like, "Oh my God, is that what we think it is? Look at that!" And it's not. It's from years ago. So be careful getting your news from social media.
That's also true, but you also got to be careful getting your news from the mainline media too, because they don't always tell us the truth.
Hi, number 2.
Number 2.
That's Gremlin. Gremlin's my number 2.
Oh, okay. I call her Smurfette. Only girl I know that looks good with blue hair. But no, I've never even thought about that. In fact, last time I even thought about drones, other than seeing it on the military news and all that, was when I was an active pilot, and there was a large push to get drone operators, which were mostly civilian and small little drones, to get them FAA certified so that they had rules and regulations to go by, because we had loads and loads and loads of near misses between a drone and an actual aircraft. So I guess I got a lot of catching up to do. So, love you too, Gremlin. You're my favorite Smurfette. So, you're getting ready to go to bed. I'm going to have to get ready to go to bed because I got another 12-hour really rough day in this really rough ER. So it's okay with you. I'm going to let you get the sleep that you need because you got a live stream coming up tomorrow.
Indeed.
And I've got another 12-hour, and well, just to give you an idea, that they did it to me again, Frosty. I was supposed to work, go home for a week, enjoy Christmas early, and then work at another one of their places in another part of New Mexico. Well, he pretty much begged and pleaded, and I said no. And then they called my wife and begged and pleaded the wife to tell me to say yes. And then they threw a lot more money on the table. My wife kind of caved and said, "Go ahead, we need to make it since you lost a lot of money from being sick." So I'm not going to even get home until maybe the 29th of the month. So that's another thing I want to mention real quick. I'm trying my best to keep the videos coming. I had some banked in the back. I'm almost out of my banked videos, but I'll be working my best to get the videos out for everyone. So if I can't get a video out, I'll try to do a live stream and all that type of stuff. So I wanted to thank you all for sticking with me, helping me build the channel. Once again, please help me build the channel. Help me get to 2,000. And if you forgot what I mentioned about what I'm going to be offering, it's in the community chat. And please go visit my wife's channel and help her build the view hours. So what do you have to say, Frosty?
Well, I posted it in chat. Remember, if it looks like crap, smells like crap, tastes like crap, it might be time to pull your head out of your butt. All right, folks. Have a good night. Take care of yourselves. Be well, be blessed. And you know where I'll see you. I'll see you in the streams. See ya.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you coming. So I just want to say good night, everyone. Have a good night.